What's up, everybody? ZWade Photo. Actually, I have a new intro that I'm going to start doing. Tell me what you think. What's up, everybody? This is ZWade, the ZWade, and ZWade Photo. And today, we are going to be doing an unboxing of the Nikon Zfc. I've been thinking about getting this camera for a while, just to be kind of like a dedicated behind-the-scenes camera, and also to actually do YouTube videos on, because I like using SnapBridge, but at the same time, I feel like it'd just be a little more convenient to just have the screen facing me rather than having to have another device like over here that I may want to use as well. And so that will come in handy, and also doing some like on-scene kind of shoots, you know, flipping it around and using it for a second as like a vlogging type camera. That'll come in handy doing that as well. So everything about this camera I can get around without this camera. But, you know, I've shot some photography jobs and my stocks have been doing fairly decent. And so, you know, why not? My friend Chuck from AP Studios, go check him out on YouTube, AP Studios. He brings up the question of whatever happened to I want it. And you know what? I want it. It's a very good point, guys. You don't always have to need something. This is going to help in my YouTube channel, you know, and stuff like that. But at the same time, I just kind of want it. It looks cool, right? And so we're going to see how it feels. But before I get any further, I want to invite you to ZWadePhoto.com. You can check out my personal art portfolio, or you can swing by the print shop and pick you up a print. If you want to help this channel grow in another way, then you can consider making a small donation in the PayPal link below. But if you don't want to spend any money, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I hope you'll just consider liking and sharing and subscribing. Okay, now we got the Nikon FM2 right here, legendary, and we have the Nikkormat EL, which is an early kind of consumer level camera. Let's get into this. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Let's, well, I'll turn this to you. A professional would know that. We don't really need the user manual right now. Whatever features this thing has probably exist in the Z6 as well. Now, I'm going to grab the 28mm f2.8, and I'm going to set it to the side because I want to unwrap this in a different video where it's just specific to this. This is about the ZFC right now. Hey, cool. We have a Nikon Z strap. Let's see what we have got. We have got a little battery here. I do wish that this was the same battery as the Z6 and Z7 II, but you know, you can't win them all. The battery charger looks very, very similar. And I'm just going to pop this in real quick. There's not really much anything else in the box. There's no pouches for me to wear like a hat or anything like that. Unless there's something under the Nikon ZFC. Well, that's random and useless. What used to be in here? I think that's it. That's about all we have. So now we're going to put our stuff back in our box because you don't want to throw anything away. Because if you ever decide you want to sell something, you don't want to be that guy or girl that has a bunch of missing packaging or missing parts out of their box. And so we put this up just like this until we're done unwrapping this, and then we'll put this paper in here and that'll be fine. All right, so this is feels absolutely nothing like either one of these cameras. You can absolutely tell that this is made from painted plastic, and these are like made from like metal. But let's see the feel here. They got the thickness about right. That's actually a great spot for the video button. Let's check out this flippy screen here. This is incredibly new for Nikon, am I right? The screen offsets a little bit off of that. It's really nothing to complain about. But I actually kind of like that you could flip this around and stick it right back there. That's pretty nifty. Right off the bat, I'm going to say that this does not feel like a $1,000 camera. It really doesn't. It pains me to say that, but these knobs are plastic. All of the dials are plastic. I mean, there's not much of this on the outside that is actually metal. If I'm being totally honest with you, which you know by now, hopefully, that I always am, this feels like a toy. Now, if I understand correctly, the body or the chassis on the inside, it is magnesium, but the outside of this is just all plastic. I mean, I can't find a piece of metal. I mean, the screw mount is metal, but everything else is absolutely just cheap feeling. If you were going to pick up the Nikon Zfc to give you a nostalgic feeling, this isn't going to give you the nostalgic feeling at all, just because it doesn't feel anything like this. Now, that doesn't mean that this camera is like inherently bad or anything like that. We're gonna find out how it holds up on images, and I'm sure the images are great. I'm sure they got those beautiful Nikon colors and files, but you know, I'm just throwing it out there, just to be honest. It is not gonna make you feel like you're back in the day, unless you judge feeling like you're living back in the day by the fact that you have some knobs that you could also do right here and right here. But on to some other things here. The button layout is in like the function of the buttons, I actually really like. I like the switch, and keep in mind all the switches and knobs and dials feel cheap. I do like having, you know, your manual aperture priority, shutter priority, program and auto. Like I like having that in like a switch form. That's pretty nifty. Also, the ISO switch, like that's kind of nifty if you want to do it as if you're living back in the day, because I don't see a button to control your ISO, right? And so this would actually be necessary unless you made this button up here an ISO control. Now, what's really cool is that where the depth of field preview is on some of the older Nikon cameras, that's actually a function button now, and that's pretty nifty, actually. This thing is going to kind of be a pain to hold on to with big lenses, but at the same time, some of these are a pain to hold on to as well. You know, you don't have anything to grab onto. I do have an L bracket grip for it, but you know, I'm not going to put that on until I can tell you how this feels in the hands, which I can tell you, I mean, obviously it feels cheap. And people, the thing is, I would like it to be made of metal, but I understand that people would lose their minds if it wasn't lighter, right? Because people want stuff that's like really, really light. And I find that to be goofy, but you know, it is what it is. I actually like the placement of the photo and video dial. It's just a switch, kind of like your mode selection over here. It's just a switch, you know, right up top. But the thing is it is kind of hard to see what it's selected on. And that the dial just feels cheap. Now, I understand Nikon wants to be retro, and so you don't get this little insert in here. I would like an insert for there, that way I don't get gunk in the hot shoe. You have exposure compensation, which that amounts to nothing the way that I shoot, because I shoot in like full manual. But you know, you do have exposure compensation right on the top, and so if you're like an aperture priority or shutter priority shooter, then you may like that. It's really easy to get to. I mean, if you use it, I don't use it just because I shoot in full manual. I see right here that it says Wi-Fi. I don't know what that is. My Z6 II Wi-Fi? I have no idea. I don't ever use Wi-Fi, and it's connecting to my phone for SnapBridge, but I don't know what that amounts to. You know the diopter? This adjustment here, I actually like this, even though it feels plasticky and rather Fisher Price. I actually like this idea better than the Z6 II and Z7 II, where you have to like pull it out and do your adjustment and then push it back in, because those feel really cheap, and like when you pull them out, like they're like wobbly. Like those are like a really cheap design and like a cheap material. But this here is actually kind of like recessed, and so, you know, it's like you're not going to bump it, and it's not going to snag on anything or hook on anything. Even though the dials do feel cheap, they have a nice audible kind of click to them. And so, like, if your face is up to the camera, you can feel it go into place, and then, you know, you can also hear it. The ISO has a little bit more noise than the shutter speed. Yeah. The on and off button is extremely loud. The button is, you know, like about what I expected. There is, on the back, there's no thumb switch for moving focus points around, which I would probably miss if this wasn't going to be like a fun machine. That's one of the reasons I wanted this, is because this style of shooting is fun. It's a slower process. I've said before, I'm not a spray and pray shooter. I take my time. I like to get my shot right. I like a slower paced photography a lot of the time. And this is an incredibly fun way to shoot. Not just because it's film, but because like the deliberancy of it, you know? And so I bought this camera knowing that for the most part, whenever I take this out, I'm just going out to have fun. But that's kind of why I bought this. I bought this because it does have some utility for me, but it's just going to be fun. And at the end of the day, I don't care if it feels cheap. You know, if I shoot this for a year and I drop it and it gets a chunk taken out of it, I'm not going to be that upset about it. All I'm saying is that for $1,000, I could have done with less features in here and had it made of more materials. You know what? I can actually see this flippy screen being pretty damn nice. Like on the Z6 too, you know, you can kind of bring it up or tilt it down. But with this, as long as you're okay with like looking off to the side, you can get pretty down angle with it, or pretty up angle with it. Like I'm looking at this like straight out, you know? Yeah, you can get pretty goofy angles with this flippy screen. I mean, it doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel very sturdy, but at the same time, the camera's not heavy, so I don't feel, this is probably going to make some of you sick. I don't feel bad about doing that. Just because the camera weighs like nothing. This is going to be an awesome like camera to just have. And so I just decided this just now, but what I think I'm going to do with this camera is I'm going to take the 28mm, you know, because that's going to be the smallest lens that I have, and I really don't want, I don't want any of my other lenses getting banged up, but I will probably make this camera the camera that I have on me all the time, always. Yeah, I've kind of wanted a camera that I could just take anywhere, and whenever I had the Z7 II, that was the Z6 II. I took it everywhere, but I never felt comfortable everywhere with it because, I mean, that, what is it, $2,500 or something like that. You know, I bought it brand new when it launched. I don't know what the price is now, but I don't have a single lens that I could put on my Z6 II and walk out the door and the rig be, you know, it's worth $5,000 no matter what I do. I can grab that and grab this, and granted, it's not incredibly cheap, but for, you know, $1,300, if I get robbed at gunpoint, first of all, good luck. Second of all, I joke, but not really. If I get robbed, it's like whatever. It's like I'm not gonna, here, take it, you know. But whatever. Like I've wanted a camera that I could just have all the time, because you never know what's gonna happen, you know. And you want to be ready if you're a photographer and you like to capture some photojournalistic stuff. It's like, oh, I was here at the right time, you know. This would be a great camera for that. I see this goes up to a 4,000 shutter. I don't know if you can expand that within the camera. I'll get into more of that whenever I get the battery charged and I do a video going a little deeper into this. But, you know, for the most part, I'm not unhappy with this purchase yet. I do wish it was a little bit, it just felt like it was built a little bit better, especially for $1,000. I haven't really messed with the Z50 at all. Any Z50 shooters, tell me if those feel like they're really plasticky, especially if you shot both of these. Maybe I'll rent one in the future and kind of feel them side by side. I think for the most part, if you're just getting into photography, the Z50 is probably still the way you want to go. But, you know, if you want something that's probably going to be like a little more fun and involved and, you know, slow you down and just, you know, a little bit of extra joy shooting photography, then, you know, this will probably be okay. But again, I may I may not recommend this at all after I get done messing with it, but we'll just have to see. Sorry if this unboxing wasn't as detail-oriented as you were hoping for. It wasn't as detail-oriented as I was hoping for either, because I was just so set back by the lies of people on YouTube that said it has like a good feel and it feels, and they're like that. I'm like, that's bullshit. All the videos I saw, all the unboxings and the hands-on reviews of these, like they were talking about how it felt. It doesn't feel great. You know, it doesn't feel like it's gonna break tomorrow, but it does not. They overhyped this in other reviews. That's a wrap of this episode of ZWade Photo. Let me know in the comments below, have you shot this yet? Have you bought one? Are you thinking about getting one? What are your reservations? I'm ZWade, the ZWade, and ZWade Photo, and I will catch you in the next one.